My name is Marta Arevalo de Barrios. My students call me Mrs. B, and I'm an English language teacher and a consultant in English language teaching. I started teaching about 20 years ago. There was an opening at IGA, and I had just come back from the States from university. And I took the induction, and I started working about a week later, and I have been in love with teaching ever since. I've worked at several academies, usually with adults and teenagers at all levels. I've had even students who are illiterate in Spanish learning English to advanced students applying for the IELTS. I've also worked at schools. A few months after I started working at IGA, I got a job teaching in middle school and high school at schools. So I've usually had 2 or 3 jobs at a time. I've had private students, and now I teach at university level, profesoral. Resources for my classes are used in 3 different places. First, for planning my classes, there's a lot of books, a lot of resources online, things like videos, songs, audios, even interactive activities that can be used to present content. Also for exercises, I try to integrate technology a lot also because there's so much out there. But I also try to integrate authentic material, books, things like that. And also for my students to show their performance in English, I also like them to create texts using technology, but also presentations and talks, things both using technology and not. So those would be the 3 places where I use resources. Although most of my experience has been with higher level students or advanced students, I have worked with lower level students and I enjoy working with them. I had the privilege of working at Berlitz. I'm just going to say the name. And I think they have a really good system where from day one, they have the students talking and participating and interacting. And I think that really motivates them when they see that learning English is not this huge thing, but little by little, they can do the things that they need to do. Like learning to present themselves and talk about their work and then build up on that. So that's the method that I use for low level students to keep them motivated. And I found it works really well. I think the best way to have a student motivated at any level is to have a variety of activities. There's a lot of skills in English: reading, writing, listening, speaking, and interactive skills. And I think the good point would be to have a mix of that with presentations and maybe research and changing the pace, having students be active, physically active, playing games. In English, the advantage is that you can do a lot of activities, a lot of different things that are fun and entertaining. And still, if you're using English, students will be learning and using and developing their English skills. So it's what's great about being an English teacher and teaching English. Okay, so correcting errors is a science. It's really a balance between accuracy and fluency, and a professor needs to learn to detect when to stop a student and correct a mistake and maybe even explain it, and when to just let the mistake go and maybe mention it at the end. There's a whole range of possibilities in error correction. Giving feedback is something that's very important. I think students need to know as soon as possible how they're doing, how they're developing, and it's a matter of not overdoing it with praise, but also encouraging students to continue speaking and producing and interacting in the language, and when they're doing it correctly, as well as when they're making mistakes.